Dude here, bringing back the old intro. Back with another video on Marvel Contest of Champions. This video will hopefully help people who are trying to complete Paths in the Abyss without Aegon. Today's video will be an overview of my Path 3 completion of the Abyss of Legends. My third Path in the Abyss was Path 2, the Deadpool, Taskmaster, Punisher, whatever you want to call it, Deadpool Green Goblin path. And so far, it has been my most cost-efficient path yet. I will say it right now. I had a stash of 36 units, or 36 revives, 2 team revives, and 3,830 units. I ended with no revives left and 800 units. On this path in the Abyss, I spent just over, barely over, 3,000 units, crossing very close to being below 3,000. By far my best run in the Abyss yet. Both of my other runs have been over 4,000 units, respectively, and this run triumphed them both. So let's kind of break it down fight by fight like I've done in the past. My entire team, who I used, which fights I did well in, which fights I didn't do so well in, kind of a whole breakdown, and I'll try to go kind of quick and get to the really important fights, the kind of the special fights. So we're going to start off with Darkhawk. Darkhawk was pretty simple, pretty standard. 1 revive with Human Torch, and I finished him with Corvus to gain both charges for Corvus, Tech, and Auto Block. Darkhawk, very simple. Luke Cage, the best fight I had in this Path of Abyss. 2 revives with She-Hulk. I almost one-shot Luke Cage. I had a 414 hit combo, and he threw a light attack intercept and clipped me. I could have one-shot Luke Cage on my first try. So Luke Cage was insane, and that first run at Luke Cage really set the tone for how most of this path was going to be just a true skill clinic. So Luke Cage went fantastic. 2 revives. Ridiculous. After Luke Cage, we have Dormammu. Dormammu took about 3 revives. I was kind of messing around trying to get a soul for Morningstar, and I wasted a revive there. But once I got on track with the characters I was actually going to use, it was all fine. Dormammu went completely fine. 3 revives, no big deal. Mephisto was an easy solo with Human Torch. You'll probably see that video uploaded very soon. Captain Marvel movie. One of the most costly fights on this entire path. I would say about 10 revives. Excuse me, maybe a little bit more on this path. Mostly due to the fact that I had to build up Morningstar to 5 souls on this fight, and that took about 5 revives to completely build her up to 5 souls. Once I built her up, it took about 6 more revives to get Captain Marvel down. So I knew Captain Marvel was going to be a mission, and Morningstar built up with a 20% boost. Took her down in about 6 to 7 revives, so that's what you should be expecting. Before I move on, I forgot to mention at the beginning of this video, the team that I ran for this Path in the Abyss of Legends, if you were not already aware, was Human Torch, Nick Fury, Morningstar, Corvus Glaive, and She-Hulk. So just have that as a point of reference. Moving on to Ghost. Ghost was a very easy takedown with Nick Fury. 1 revive necessary, and I finished off the fight with Corvus. Very easy time there. Iron Man Infinity War was a little tricky at the start, but once I got the hang of the fight with Torch, it was 2 to 3 revives easy. Finished off the fight with Corvus to gain the Avenger charge from Iron Man. After Iron Man, we had Joe Fixit. Joe Fixit was about 4 to 5 revives with Nick Fury. There were times where Joe Fixit would place a Fate Seal on Nick Fury and remove his Fury. Only until the end of the matchup, I found out that you can gain that Fury back if you cross the threshold of 30% and drop back below it. But I didn't know that until my final attempt at Joe Fixit. But Nick Fury really wiped the floor with Joe Fixit. Next up, we have a fight that I really wasn't expecting to be as bad as it was. Mordo. I probably spent about 4 revives on Mordo, where in the past I've spent 1 to 2. So Mordo definitely tripped me up a little bit, but I did bounce back. I did get a nice solid run with She-Hulk at the end, and about 4 revives were used on Mordo. So not very cost efficient, but not too bad. After Mordo, Path 2 truly begins, if you don't count that Dormammu little expedition. But Path 2 truly begins with Deadpool. I'm very disappointed that I did not get the one-shot on Deadpool. I was very close. I still might upload the whole video anyway, but I had to revive twice on Deadpool. I wonder if you guys can hear that thunder, but I had to revive twice on Deadpool. One, because he evaded out of my attack, or I'm sorry, no, he threw a special while I was dashing in, so obviously great times there. And then the next one, I just got super unlucky with timing, and he threw his special 3 when he was at 3% health. So Deadpool was 2 revives, but for the average player, if you don't get unlucky, you can solo Deadpool very easily. After Deadpool, we had Korg. Korg was the worst fight on this entire path. Worse than the Collector, worse than Punisher, hands down the worst fight in this entire path. At least 15 revives were used on Korg. A bulk of the revives in the Abyss in this path were used on Captain Marvel movie, Korg, and Punisher 2099. That is where a majority of the revives went. Korg sucked very much. Not having Doctor Doom or a character that counters Korg really goes to show how awful Korg is to fight. So I strongly recommend excuse me, bringing in a counter to Korg, whether it's a champion that doesn't take any damage, reflects damage, or a champion like Ghost who can just get the ins for light attacks very easy. Korg, by far, worst fight on this path. After Korg, we had Taskmaster. Taskmaster wasn't too bad, probably 5 revives once I got the swing of it with Nick Fury. I knew Taskmaster was going to be a little costly just because he is a 5.7, so I wasn't too upset with it, and I've never fought Taskmaster before, but Nick Fury really showed him how it was done. After Taskmaster, we had MODOK. MODOK could have been an easy 2-shot with Nick Fury, but unfortunately I did get clipped during my second run, and I did have to revive. So MODOK was only 2 revives with Nick Fury, but playing well and not getting clipped could make MODOK 1 revive very easy, very very possible. So after MODOK, we get back onto the previous paths that I've done. We have Howard the Duck. Howard the Duck was 4 revives with Nick Fury. I was very happy with how Howard the Duck went. Doing the quadruple light combo into Howard's block really made the difference in getting those bleeds on while the internal leap is active, as each bleed is at least 1% of 5.7 million champions' health pool. So Howard went decently well. After Howard was Hyperion, and Hyperion, if I boost it up, what am I trying to say? No, disregard that statement, my apologies. If I had boosted up, there was a very high possibility that I could have soloed Hyperion with She-Hulk. I came very close to doing it without boosting. I got him from 96 to 6. Which means if I would have boosted and he was at 100%, most likely I could have gotten him down in 1 shot. So the next time I fight Hyperion, I will make sure I have a 20% boost on, and I will go ham with She-Hulk, as I feel like I can solo that fight. Yeah. So Hyperion, 1 revive. No, actually no revives because I finished with Morningstar. Super, super fun fight. Another super fun fight was the champion. I ended up using She-Hulk for the champion as well. Only one revive, as I went in with Morningstar first to kind of test the waters. I only got him down about 10%, and then I went in with She-Hulk and got him down to 1%. Unfortunately, I didn't record this one, but this champion matchup was ridiculous. I was at 1% health the entire time, and at the very end I got clipped, but I was playing as perfect as you possibly could play in the champion matchup, reversing his regen, nailing all the intercepts, the heavy change. It was amazing. So the champion, I feel like I could solo that fight with She-Hulk as well. So I don't know if I have to ever fight the champion again, but um, if I do, I will try and get the one shot. But Hyperion, I know I have to fight one more time. So moving on to the penultimate part of Path 2, which then leads back into Path 1 and such. It would be Green Goblin. So Green Goblin was actually a really good fight for me. It was only 4 revives flat. I didn't have any slip-ups in this matchup. Each run was over 25% of his health down. No restarts, no slip-ups. Like I said, Green Goblin was just a solid fight with Nick Fury, and I'm actually really happy about how it went. I didn't fail a single L2, and yeah, Green Goblin went surprisingly well. So after Green Goblin, we had Mr. Sinister. Mr. Sinister was a torch fight, and at the very end I had to finish with Corvus so I could get my 4th and final charge. So once I got to Punisher and then the Collector, I could deal a decent amount of damage per hit of my combo. So like I said, Mr. Sinister, very pleasant time with Human Torch, 1 revive with Torch, and finished off with Corvus. And then to the true penultimate part of Path 2, Punisher 2099. This fight also sucked a lot. I would say at least 10 revives were used on this fight, minimum. For the majority of the fight, I did use Corvus. For one part, I did use Morningstar. I got off maybe 6 or 7%, but for a majority of the fight, I used Corvus Glaive. So that was truly painful. I really, really, really had a bad time with Punisher. Not because the fight was difficult, just because Corvus's damage without the glaive charges is practically non-existent. So you had to wait out the glaive charges, which waits out times with boosts, and it just wasn't a fun time. So Punisher definitely was one of my worst fights, but after Punisher, smooth sailing for the rest of the path up until Collector. We had Loki. Loki was pretty simple with Human Torch. I would say about 4 revives on Loki. Not too bad at all. Loki went pretty well. That was actually the last time I ever had to fight Loki, along with a lot of other champions on this path. Last time I'll ever have to fight them in the Abyss, so that felt kind of good. Oh, excuse me. After Loki, we had Aegon. Aegon was very, very easy with Morningstar. It should have been 1 revive, but unfortunately I did get clipped in one of the sequences, so that caused me to use yet another revive, but it was completely fine. I wasn't shivering in my boots that I had to use an extra revive on Aegon. Yeah, it wasn't too bad, and Morningstar truly did decimate him. After Aegon, we had Invisible Woman. Invisible Woman went really, really well. I was very close to a one-shot with Nick Fury. If I had some better timings in the first matchup and she didn't wait out some of the charges with not throwing special attacks, I could have very well gotten a one-shot if I was full boosted. But Invisible Woman was 1 revive with Nick Fury. Very, very easy fight with Nick. Nick Fury makes Invisible Woman cakewalk. Very, very simple. So Invisible Woman, piece of cake. And then finally, the last champion, the Guardian of the Collector, Cull Obsidian. If you have witnessed the video already on my channel, I did solo Cull Obsidian with Morningstar in about 2.5 minutes. It was truly insane how effective Morningstar is for Cull Obsidian. So anyone running the easy path, or even path 3, I highly suggest bringing Morningstar. She's a fantastic option for fights like Medusa if you're doing the easy path, or path 2 or path 3. Captain Marvel, she's great for that. She can also just be a nice, solid damage dealer for, excuse me, other fights on the path. You know, no matter if you're fighting someone like Venom the Duck, she's actually one of the best options for Venom the Duck. Howard the Champion, Morningstar is just an overall great character for Abyss. So do not doubt Morningstar. Do not doubt the power of Morningstar. And then finally, we come to the end of the road. We come to the Collector. At this point, I had 2 team revives in my stash ready to go and 1,500 units at my disposal. I ended up using 800 units on the Collector fight, including both of my team revives. So in total, in terms of unit cost, it would be 1,000, but in legitimate unit cost, it was 800. Actually, no, a little bit less than 800, more like 760. But obviously, the Collector is the worst fight because without Aegon, it just makes everything, makes the Collector fight that much more slower. But Nick Fury, Morningstar, and Corvus put in quite a bit of work in this fight, and that just made it, having 3 options for the Collector made it um, a lot more fun. And I probably could have been a little more cost efficient if I didn't fail some special 2 dexes, because it was early in the morning when I finished this. I didn't fail all of them. I got special 2 dexes off, but I did fail a few, and that definitely brought up the unit cost. But nevertheless, ladies and gentlemen, that is my summary of Path 3 in the Abyss of Legends, Path 2, if you're being technical, the Deadpool and Green Goblin path. I hope this video helps people out. Again, my team was She-Hulk, Morningstar, Nick Fury, Human Torch, and Corvus Glaive. The total unit cost, with almost 40 revives in the stash and a decent amount of health potions, with 10 and 20% boosts free at the disposal, was just under 3,000 units. I would say probably 2,900 is accurate, maybe 3,000, bordering like 3,000 on the dot. But nevertheless, thank you all so much for watching. I hope to bring you guys more Abyss content in the future, get more paths done, and maybe be the first person in the world to 100% the Abyss without Aegon or Doctor Doom. Again, thank you all so much for watching, and I truly hope to see you all in the next video. Peace.